And we're live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and tetras, to that 6+++ show. I am your host, Tom, and I'm joined tonight by a whole cast of wonderful people to talk about an event that's coming up this weekend. We are talking Saffron Slam Teams. Very excited. We've been looking forward to this for ages. Chris in with the early soundboard. He loves it. He loves an early soundboard. Welcome to everybody in the chat. If you are coming to Saffron Slam Teams, please do pipe up and let us know that you're coming. We're really excited to meet you all. Lewis is going to take over in a minute and take you through it because we're actually going to do the pairings for this Teams event live on air. It's like a sort of good FIFA pairing where we've already paid Lewis. He's going to make sure we get kind draws. So we're going to proceed on that basis, like all good sporting competitions should. Before we dive into that, I'm just going to briefly introduce the cast of players, and I'm going to start where I always start with my dear leader, Chris. Chris, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm very good. It's a busy week, but it's a good week. I am excited to try and speedily build and paint multiple Sagittars in a couple of days.
So, just to clarify, is your list not actually built yet for Saturday?
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's a tournament player thing.
It's because I had hobby time on the weekend, and I quite selfishly I was looking at the bits I'd already built and painted. I was like, I want to just make these prettier. I want to have like pretty Hearthguard and make the characters prettier, and I used my time for that. Whether that was the right call, I will let you know in a couple of days.
Find out.
But it was fun to do, and I think it's nice for the Hearthguard to look good as they waddle around. Have you done any hobby yourself for this?
I have painted 10 Wraithguard.
Yeah, you have.
Nice. And I painted a Spirit Seer, and I painted 5 more Swooping Hawks. Now, all in the list for the weekend.
And is it all ready now?
It is fully ready, apart from I do have to glue back on the Incarn sword, because that's fallen off, which is less than ideal.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, all ready. It's the first time I've had to paint Eldar for an event for quite a while, actually. Which has distracted me from the Grey Knights, so that's sad times.
But they'll get their time.
They're next. They're up on the chopping block. Yeah, all ready.
Sweet. I'm also joined by John Scrivo. John Scrivo. He's mostly Scrivo on this channel. You know who he is. How are you doing, John?
Yeah, really good. Really good. Totally not painting stuff for the weekend. So as soon as we're done, I'm not going to be painting.
I've seen your list.
Dreadnoughts.
I know exactly what you still need to do. Yeah.
Is it 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts?
It may be. It may be. John, I was like, oh, they're new. Okay.
Yeah, but they were kind of built ready, so it's not too much of a stretch, but it's painting them white, which is probably the most self-harm you could do.
How is that kit to build? Because it's in the box, right? So it should be straightforward. Is it quite push?
10 parts, I think.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
I didn't even use the instructions for the second one, so it's backwards.
Perfect.
Legs on his head.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll come back to you because obviously we'll talk about Legion and the team prep and all that stuff a little bit later. But I'm also joined, of course, by the wonderful Ed. Ed, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
Excellent. Ed, have you had to prepare anything for this, or are you good to go?
Yeah, so I over the weekend, obviously, a few of the show know I've been playing some Magic.
Yes.
My partner and I went and played her first Commander game. This is relevant, and this definitely was. It was purely business. The guy I was playing with is loaning me 3 carnivores, so
nice,
I had to go and pick those up. And while we were there, we were like, oh, I guess we'll play a bit of Magic. But yeah, I feel like I understand the Eldar match now. I've got a bit of practice into it, and that's good. We can throw me on the Eldar sword, and turns out I've got a lot of body armor, so I'm looking forward to
sword, and it'll break, and Chris will have to glue it back on. That's how the Eldar sword works. So.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to playing with you. We've obviously been chatting a bit about teams already, not a ton, but a bit, and it's going to be a really fun weekend. Okay, without further ado, I think it's time to let Lewis take things away and take control.
I thought you weren't going to introduce me there.
I can introduce you as well if you like. Lewis, who are you? What are you? What are you about?
I don't know what I am. I'm not sure. That's a question many have asked, and no one has yet got to a solution.
Yeah, exactly. Defined by
You'll get your turn, Ed. Don't worry. But no, I'm very well.
Have you had to prep much for this?
I have not built the trophies yet, so I have I have 5 trophies to build. Those of you who came to EA Slam will know the really awesome Space Marine trophies that we got. Because I'm a Tyranid main now, I've got some Swarm Lord trophies. So I've got 5 Swarm Lords to build.
That's extremely cool.
Resin bust Swarm Lords for the winning team, so they're going to look amazing. I haven't got them out of the box yet, so I'm hoping none of the resin is warped, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And
That's super cool. I'm sure it'll be alright. Resin famously always stays.
Exactly how it was.
Like Tetras, as we open with, all the Tetras I've seen and the shapes they have been
so many
in recent times, they truly are a very varied vehicle. I'm going to quickly shout out people in the comments, and then we can move into it. Seems like there's a bunch of you here. That's lovely. So Sindri's got a great start. Plus for the Plus gods, 3-2s for the 3-2 throne. I love that. I absolutely love that. That's a battle cry we can get behind. How many of the 6++ teams will 3-2 at the team's event? Have your say in the comment. Harley says, which 6++ team will I face first?
Well, we'll just check our notes because we have agreed.
Yeah. I think we've already sorted you out, I think, Harley. We've obviously paid the refs at this point, so whichever one we want. Gustav Conradi says a rematch for last 7 minutes. Oh, he's chatting to Harley. Harley and Gustav are having a bit of one-upmanship in the chat. VT Bridge says, hi guys, hello VT Bridge, nice to have you here.
I wonder who that is.
And Finn Marcus, who I think I played at the last Saffron, says, do we get a cool spoon trophy to take home for the teams? Nah, you're going to be fine, Finn. You're going to be taking that Swarm Lord home, don't you worry. Go get it. Okay, wonderful. With that said, Lewis, I guess maybe tell people, for those that aren't going to this event, as I'm sure some of our listeners aren't going to this event, what Saffron Slam Teams is, and then talk us through what the process is going to be tonight.
Excellent. So I am going to do some screen sharing, which is going to be excellent for our podcast listeners.
Oh, nice.
So let me do that first. I don't know whilst I'm doing that. Chris, have you got a Plus Roundup you want to do?
That's not a bad shout, actually, because we are good at self-promotion, possibly.
Well, I'm going to mess around with the tech whilst
Chris
is doing that.
I'm going to try and do that whilst also paying attention to what Lewis is doing, because I need to be paying attention to what he's doing to put it on the screen. So this can only go well. But yeah, we've recently set ourselves a goal. No longer will our Plus Roundups be quiet. And now we are firing out all the content. So currently, Scrivo and Ed are doing a Cracking the Codex series all on Space Marines, and they're looking at kind of a detachment time. And they have just done the Firestorm Assault detachment, which was a thoroughly enjoyable view. We've also got Scrivo doing a brand new series all about the WTC. For those who don't know, Scrivo is part of Team Wales and a coach there, and he's going to be doing lots of videos kind of over the course of the year, kind of breaking down what's going on with the WTC, demystifying it, so to speak, talking through all the different processes, etc. I think it's going to be really interesting. He's like nailed the presentation. It's Scrivo versus the world.
It's extremely cool.
It looks awesome, and they're really short videos. So the first one we put as early release on Patreon. It's now out. So if you have any sort of interest in WTC or want to start to learn about it, check that out. It's only 3 minutes 47 seconds long. In terms of live stuff, we have had the second episode yesterday of Rock and Stone.
Rock and Stone.
Is Tom running a Votan podcast, because he is, of course, a Votan main.
I'm a Votan main.
He is
sure. You can't have a podcast if you're not a main.
That's 100% true. He's joined by some guy called Jake, who plays for some team called Vanguard.
He's quite handsome, and he has interesting ideas about how to pronounce the names of Votan.
I think every podcast needs one of those.
I absolutely love him. I absolutely love him for that. The comments don't. But I love it.
Video engagement will be like 200% of what it would be, because everyone's like, "No, you've got to say it like this."
Yeah, I'm seriously considering starting to say it all the way he says it, just to see, and then maybe James the episode after, and we'll all just gradually eventually all be saying it, and just see how the fan base deals with that.
Votan.
or you need to overpronounce the H in Carl.
Yes, Carl.
And in terms of stuff coming up, we've got another matchup plus. So last time we spoke about Eldari, Chaos Space Marines, and Leagues of Votan, and spoke about kind of like the what the traditional lists are that we're seeing and how to counter them. And this one coming up, I think it's Thursday. Have we agreed?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, Thursday, and it's going to be Tau, Chaos Knights, and
Custodes. As requested by the chat or by the comments, I believe.
Yeah. So we're going to go through those, and it's just content. So if you haven't already, give us a like, give us a subscribe. You'll see a link in the description. We do have an affiliate page with a company called Composite Games. They offer you 20% off, and if you use the code PLUS in capital letters, you get an additional 5% off. So you get 25% off your Warhams, and on top of that, we then get a little bit of commission from that. And then, of course, we do have a Patreon. If you want to get early access, we've got extra shows that will be coming out there. Or if you want to achieve the 3-2 dream / maybe occasionally a 4-1, we do have coaching clients already where we kind of, we build you up. Kind of, we have like a portfolio for you, and then it's all about teaching you how to get better at the game rather than learning the particular skills, right? It's about how can you learn to reflect and become better at the game. That's kind of, we've got enough teachers in our team to know how to do that. So if that's interesting, check out our Patreon, which is also in the link below.
Yeah, massive thank you to everybody who's signed up. We really appreciate it. Wonderful. Okay. How much are super chat bribes for Lewis before he does the pairings? If you put huge super chats in here, you will get a pairing that you like.
Not illegally by any
am I allowed to do that? I'm probably not allowed to do that.
Well, I was going to say it. The Mechanicus in the chat has jumped the gun ever so slightly. But yeah, super chats are accepted for favourable pairings.
Excellent. No. Anyway.
But do super chat, would appreciate it. But no, unfortunately, it will not generate you a favourable pairing because I need to maintain some competitive integrity to this event.
Yeah,
because it's a very serious event that we're all taking very seriously.
There's nothing more shark tanky than Saffron. Right, Lewis, how are we looking?
I've hit the share button, Chris. I believe there's something you have to do your end.
Oh, don't you know? It's now on screen, but I've got to press transition first, and then it happens. There you go.
Look at this.
Whoa, look at that. We have some graphs. I would explain this for our podcast listeners, because I listen to this show mostly on podcast form, and I would find myself very frustrated if I listened to it and someone said all this cool thing that they could look at. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Saffron Slam Teams tournament is approaching this Saturday and Sunday. 10 teams. 50 players, 18 different factions, all descending on Essex to see which team will get out. Essex is great, shit off. Which team will emerge victorious? Now, I have two graphs I want to go through before we get started. So basically what I'm going to do is I will give a little bit of background on some of the factions and that we've got represented, because I think we've got a really, really good mix. Give some information on all the teams that are attending. We've only got 10 teams, so it won't take me too long. I basically just want to take the piss out of as many players that are attending as possible in the hope that they never return. And then we shall go through the first round pairings. So what I'm going to do, we'll start with the 3 6++ teams here, and we'll ask the team captains or nominated representative to pick the round 1 pairing for the 6++ team. They don't know who they're going to choose. I have randomly assigned numbers to the remaining 7 teams, which the team captain will choose, and that will determine who they get to play first. So we do have last minute opportunities for bribes, but hopefully we shall pair the 6++ team as War Masters team quickly as possible and get that loss out of the way round 1.
For War Masters, that is.
For War Masters, yes, I didn't specify who. I failed to specify.
Absolutely. I'm confident they will definitely let us smash and grab them twice. They seem like the kind of team that would do that.
But no, so it should be good. We have 3 6++ teams. We have, which obviously you know and love from listening to this channel. We're all going to do very, very well. We also have 2 teams from 4TK Gaming in Colchester. We then have Sons of War team from Cambridge, the Grim Dark Garage, which has to be the best team name I've ever come across, War Masters team, aforementioned, the Saffron Slammers, who are clearly going to win this event, hands down, and ECL, who's a team I do not recognise. So does anyone else on the call recognise the ECL team?
I've played against one of their players before. It was a lovely
I recognised a few of the player names. But yes, so we have, as I said at the start, we have 18 different factions represented, 20 factions if you break out all the individual Space Marines, which out of the 22, 23 factions, or how many there is in the game now, I lose count depending on if you're doing Agents of Imperium or not. I think it's quite a good balance, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good-looking pie chart, isn't it?
It's a good-looking pie chart, lots of colours. Basically, as I think we would expect in teams tournaments at the moment, Eldari feature very heavily. They're the most represented team. 6 out of 10 teams are bringing Eldari. I don't think there's any surprises there. They are closely followed by the Chaos Space Marines, with five different teams representing a Chaos Marine list. And then we have Necrons in third place, which I thought was a little bit interesting. I know they're supposedly quite good, but most people seem to be able to kill Necrons now, don't they?
It's a decision we are massively regretting right now. So yeah, it's. I think they spoke about it on an Into the Matrix podcast. They're kind of, if you're playing 8-man teams, Necrons probably have a space.
Yeah.
But when you're playing kind of like 4 or 5-man teams, they're just going to be really hard to pair with. And we've done matrices for all the teams at the competition, and Alex's matrix do not look good. I can tell you that for free. There is a lot of red and orange there. So sorry, Alex, but you're going under the bus a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it a Necron list? I mean, I don't want to go too much into your strategy, but is it likely to be like a defender list now, and you just accept you're going to get a loss with them? Or?
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to pair accordingly to either try and mitigate it. I mean, obviously he does have some greens there, but generally it's either, if he takes this, then we've got a great time all across the board. But actually looking at our matrix, in general, that's probably not actually the case. So it might quite often be, his list is still, it's got so much stuff, and even the Chewie, the army's good at killing stuff. It's still going to take them quite a while to get through it. So
they don't get put away.
It's gonna,
you
just literally you can't put it away in 2 turns, 3 turns. So I think he will. I'm hoping he'll surprise us, and he's just being really pessimistic.
He's a great player as well, so I'm sure he'll get the most out of the list. So yeah. Definitely. No, great stuff.
Just put him into the mirror, because he played that like 3 times at LGT. So I reckon
he knows it well.
Ruin his weekend.
Funnily enough, the mirror is pretty much his only green on all the matrices.
So you've done matrices for every single person
every
you're playing
single
against.
Team we have, yes.
Have Alfarius done that, Tom?
Absolutely, we have, yeah.
So you're taking this seriously. It's supposed to be a fun event. So the listeners that don't understand, the Saffron Slam is not meant to be at the competitive edge of the Warhams. Saffron Slam is a chilled event where we all have a bit of a laugh. We use the event to blow off some steam from some of our more serious events that we all really know and love. The terrain that I'm using, each set of 5 tables is going to have 2 fixed layouts on it. So it'll have a UKTC and a Peterborough Slam layout on it, kindly donated by Paul Bridge, the tables that I haven't quite got enough terrain for just yet. And then there'll be 3 kind of themed tables on each set of 5. So when people are doing their initial pairings in the round, obviously first defender is going to be able to pick the table, which I think in a lot of team settings, especially those like the UKTC ones where the boards are all identical, doesn't necessarily have that much of impact. But I'm hoping at Saffron Slam it should add an extra layer in that there will clearly be some boards, i.e. if you have a massive castle or you have a big defensive fortification, you may be able to get quite a significant advantage in the game by being first defender, which I'm hoping is going to add a different layer of complexity into the pairing system that we might not necessarily get from just standard layouts.
A fun idea. I've never played on the Princess Castle map, and I will definitely be trying to leverage this and getting a game on it if I can.
Be like, Jack, we've got 1 goal. I play on that table.
I want to play on the Princess Castle map.
But yeah, it should be interesting. You might all hate it, and there we go. But here we are. It's going to be a good laugh.
As I say, don't mistake doing matrices for taking this too seriously. It saves
sounds
time.
Like you're taking it seriously.
It saves time and energy on the day, and we're in the mood. We're practicing matrices and stuff all the time these days, so it's just a nice excuse to do that.
I think that's it. We're a team that want to get better at teams, and in order to get better at teams, you have to kind of go through the processes. If you're going to the ICT in February, you're not doing matrices for everyone, are you? But at these sorts of events, you can do. It literally took us genuinely took hardly any time at all. It's also quite nice just to look through all the different players and look through the list just so you're a bit more prepared. And then when it comes to the weekend, as Tom says, you haven't, because it's 3 hour. Is it 3 hour rounds including pairings, Lewis?
Oh, I haven't got my event pack up. Damn it, man. Well, yes, I think so.
Yeah,
it might be 3 hours 5. I can't remember because I normally do 2 hours 50. So I thought I'd add 10 minutes on for pairings.
Yeah, so you kind of want to be quite efficient with your pairings, otherwise it could quite easily end up with you only got 2.5 hours to play your game. So
I'll try as well this time around. I'll be quite quick with the next round pairings when they come up, to be honest.
That would be nice, yes.
I'll just fly instead of wait. I like to give people a chance to have a chat and have their lunch and all that sort of stuff. But actually, I think
that's
those that want to crack on.
We've freed up plenty of time for that now. And if you're going and you haven't done Matrix with your team, maybe you could do one if you'd like to. Anyone in the chat, feel free and go for it.
Definitely. And I've just seen in the chat there is some cheating already happening.
Oh no!
Our Sons of War team, Paul Bridges' team.
It's classic Paul Bridges.
Already getting a loss in their first.
Get him in line, Paul. Come on.
I had seen that actually. Yeah, I had seen the Necron list. It was actually a Dark Angel list.
So
for Ricardo, that is a very nasty surprise.
Ricardo from Sons, you've highlighted the fact that I have not necessarily checked every single of the 50 players' factions, calling me out on the chat, earning his team a loss in round 1. Down as Necrons when he should be Dark Angels.
Yeah.
I will make sure that's changed on BCP. And then it's thrown out all my nice pie charts all over the place. Why am I even bothering? Right. This is a waste of time. Ricardo says to blame Paul. Excellent.
Yeah.
We all agree with that. But right, shall we go on to the teams then, shall we? That's what we're waiting for. I'm going to change slides. Hang on. It's worked. Here we go, our 10 teams. So I'll go through them top to bottom. When we get to the 6++ teams that are represented here tonight, I will ask our team captains to dive in and give a bit more background on what they're up to, what they're thinking, what their plans are.
Sure.
So we'll start on the top. 40k Gaming, headed up. It was my old team, so before I turned traitor and joined the 6++ crew, I used to play for 40k Gaming. They're the location in Colchester where I grew up, and they taught me everything I need to know about 40k. And here they are back. They're regular supporters of the Saffron Slam, and I always appreciate them. So this first team, the first of the 2 teams they've got, headed up by Sam. He's a really good orc player, and he always wears a brilliant hat to every single event that he comes to. Big squig hat, which is always worth looking at.
Is it like a cowboy style hat?
It's got like a rim on it, but then it's got big bug eyes and a green thing on it.
Oh, amazing!
With a big open
Absolutely
mouth.
Amazing.
He takes it very seriously, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Does he war?
He does war. I will be fully expecting orc players to be warring this weekend. It's not a serious event. I might even, just to wind Scriver up, give them the microphone and the sound system. We'll see how we go. Also in the 40k Gaming team, we have Harley, who actually won the last Saffron event with his Eldari. Went 4-1 at the LGT, also with the Eldari. So a force to be reckoned with, depending on how much he pays me. And we're also on that team. Really big shout out as well, because these 3 are really excellent. They're genuine credits to the hobby. We've got Christina, Patrick, and Ollie, also with their Chaos Space Marines, Orcs, Tau, Eldari, and Drukari featuring that team. But yeah, lovely group, really excellent. Second 40k team, the 40k under 21s, which I thought was a good way of breaking it down. Headed up by Rob. He's a regular at the Slam as well, and it also contains my favourite Necron player in Crichton. Not that I don't like
played
Alex.
Crichton at LGT. He was lovely.
You did?
Yeah, it was really nice.
He's a good egg, I would describe. That team also contains a gentleman called Tom Coppin, who lives in Essex, same as I do, flew all the way to Gibraltar to play in the Gibraltar GT last year and ended up drawing me in round 4. So we've flown 1,000 miles to Gibraltar and ended up playing each other. So he had that displeasure, which he's probably flew all that way to escape me, really. But they also, actually, in the 40k under-21s team, they have enlisted the support of the now infamous Mike Cheng and his Death Guard. Probably one of the best Death Guard players that I've ever seen.
I hope he's enjoying slightly improved Death Guard. Now, obviously, one of the best armies in the game.
We love them here.
I met him at one point during the LGT. I did meet Mike, and he wasn't having a good day. But by the end of
that's really surprising. His faction does really poorly.
We've got to engineer that matchup.
Please make that
matchup
remotely
possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone put $2 in the Ed hates fucking Death Guard machine.
I was really torn. My first round of the LGT was against Death Guard and my Tyranids, and I was sitting on one hand, I want to prove that my silly swarm list was going to do well, so I could shove it in Davey's face. On the other hand, I wanted to lose to Death Guard, so I could say to Ed that Death Guard are actually quite good, and then he could shove that up his ass. But I won't.
This is why you've got to pick one nemesis. You've got to limit yourself to one. The only person I dislike on our team is you, and that's why I get results.
Welcome, Hick Dead. Nice to have you here.
Hick Dead, I like that name. Right, so on to our first 6++ team, 6++ Alfarius. Now this is headed up by our top boy presenter and 6++ golden boy, Mr. Lohman.
Yeah, I don't think I've captained the team before. This is new.
This is new and exciting. It also contains my arch nemesis and all-round bastard, Ed.
I like that title. That's fantastic.
All-round bastard. I like it. And
He's
then
calling you fat.
Ed calls it ARB.
We also have Paul James, Jack Chapman, and Lee Churchwood also in that team. A formidable lineup, I'm sure. Tom, would you like to go through this bunch of reprobates?
Yeah, I think it's a solid team of players. It's all people who've played teams events a lot in recent times for us, and I mean Jack especially is like a little pairings wizard, so he's been a massively positive addition to the team for teams events, and we're all running stuff. I think that we've got very good experience with. We sort of ummed and ahed, do we take X, Y, Z because it's the best, blah blah blah, and we decided against that. And partly that's a Saffron thing, partly that's just where our experience and our preferences thing. And I think we like the combination of armies that we've got, and we're really looking forward to it.
Excellent. And in response to Mega Miniature's comment, anyone taking Chaos Knights?
Oh, yes, we are.
I got 13 War Dogs.
It's not a knight list, but technically it has the Chaos Knight faction.
Oh, yes.
It's a Dreadnought list, but there we are.
I just want this on record. Lewis is a bigot against short knights. If you're running a list that doesn't include, if you don't have anything that's like 6'2" or above in your list, you're only running War Dogs. He is. I was going to say racist. Let's not invoke racism.
Let's probably not go that far.
Yeah, he is bigoted against you. Short kings rise up. War Dogs go burr. That's all I have to say on the matter.
Yeah.
Right, Ed, get back in your box. I'm moving on.
CK definitely are. I mean, I do feel like CK are a really nice team to pick for lots of different reasons. They're just very durable, flexible, and hard to put away again. So I think Ed will definitely get a tune out of them.
Yeah, I'm going to put my models on the line.
Churchwood, so it's all about Lee Churchwood. He's gonna do his thing and just
he's gonna get those 20-0s.
Get those Chaos Space Marines out. I don't think it's a 20-0 game right now. If I'm honest, I don't think 10th is a 20-0 game that often myself. We'll see, but I don't. It's just the nature of the scoring now. You don't get those huge differentials all that often. So I think it's more about eking out differentials where you can, but we'll see.
Which makes having Paul really valuable. As we know, Paul will score a 4 every time.
Paul gets 4s.
All 4 James.
Jack put the 4s in for him in the Matrix. He's like, don't worry, I've got this. And Paul James, obviously the most reliable, consistent Dark Angels player you could ever ask for. He's wonderful. So excited.
Apart from
Scrivo, who's obviously in the other team. Sorry, Scrib. They're both
consistently score 10-10 every time.
They're the same. They're all just as good as each other. Sorry.
I'm there with the crayons.
I don't have any favourites. It's you, and it's not fucking close.
Good. Right. We'll step away from 6++ for a moment then. Go on to the ECL team. ECL, being led by Andy. It's a team I do not know a huge amount about. I know Andy has been to a few Saffron Slams before, and he is a good egg, so I can say he's a good egg. That's about as far as I can go. Their lineup, I think, is quite scary. They just seem to have gone for all of the good stuff. They've got Eldari, they've got the Chaos Space Marines, they've got the Necrons, they've chucked in the GSC. I think it's an interesting choice, but I think in teams definitely has play. There is one Scrambler Fields. I did bow to the pressure of also getting rid of the delayed reserves mission rule.
Oh, did you?
I got universal hatred for including that because.
And I thank you from my little dwarven heart for that because that is not what I want.
I guess no one likes it. I think it's it's tricky because I am obviously trying to do something a bit different. It's not meant to be competitive. I want to try and throw in the new missions, the different stuff, and mix it up a bit so it's a little bit different to what you would normally play at a kind of big event. But also you can go a bit far with it. So there's no
with some flavourful missions, right? I think that was something we felt reading through. There were a few missions we don't see that often, and that's exciting in itself.
Yeah, definitely.
There's one missing though.
What's missing?
Playing football. With your objectives.
Oh, you haven't got the servo skills in. I mean, that's fine.
Servo skills is not in there. That one genuinely has universal hatred.
I was heartbroken.
It's a silly place. Yeah.
So, next up, Sons of War.
Ooh.
Now, they've already cheated, so everything I was going to say about Sons of War is going out the window. They've already got a loss. They're not going 5-0.
Yeah.
They are kind of the closest team to the Saffron Slam. They are the local Cambridge team. Full to the brim, scoundrels and wasters, as you can imagine, which is no surprise, given that they chose their captain as none other than Paul Bridge himself, Peterborough Slam fame,
king of the scoundrels,
the king himself. He's brought quite a strong team. Some of these players I recognise. Tom Moynihan brings his guard. I can't remember if he's got any Baneblades in this list, but even when he did have a Baneblade at the last Saffron Slam, he did go 4-1 with it, even though there were several boards he couldn't even move the bloody things. He had 2 of them.
Oh, that was that guy. Amazing.
That was that guy. He's a very good player.
His opponents didn't love that list.
Actually, those Baneblades, if they just open up, like not that stuff stands there, and they take up enough space.
And towering was still towering at that point as well, and that was a real time.
I've got written on my notes here, Ricardo has his Necrons, but he doesn't. He has his Dark Angels.
No, he absolutely doesn't. No.
Michael's got his Eldari, and Paul Watson has his Chaos Demons, and Paul Bridge, I believe, is bringing his 1,000 Suns, which he seems to be doing quite well with. He got his little trophy for being best 4-1 at the LGT, which our dear leader Chris was over the moon about.
I didn't get to beat Paul, so that was disappointing.
But I mean,
the demon list is cool. It's quite, I guess, Jack Tight-esque in flavour. It's got lots of stuff going on, lots of assets.
I suspect there's probably been some collaboration between Mr. Tight, right? Who frequents the Sons of War Club, and may or may not have had influence over what's going on there. But I think we could all
recognise
agree.
his handiwork even at a distance. I love it.
You've got a whiff of Tight. But yeah, I think we could all agree it would be a real shame for them to pair into 6++, first game, second game, third game, and lose them all. I think we would all be devastated by that.
That implies that somehow the 6++ teams, one of them's lost 1 game and one of them's lost 2 games early on. Obviously not going to happen.
I just don't see it.
Yeah, we could probably play them twice if they get paired up after round 1, but otherwise.
Yes, and I think it's actually quite interesting. I mean, it's because it's a slightly smaller number of teams. There's only 10 teams, so you could, in theory, have quite a number of teams. There's a possibility you end up with like 3 teams.
Yeah,
everyone's
playing everyone, man. It's going to get loopy. It's going to be great.
But yes, excellent. So let's go back to 6++, shall we? The 6++ Legion team, led by the God Emperor himself.
Yes,
Chris. Contains also my favourite Lee of Are you finished?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Being really serious here, guys. No, yes, Chris, fire away.
Yeah, so we have brought a nice friendly mix. We have got Scriver on his Dark Angels. Lots of ideas floated around there before we settled kind of on the Dreadnoughts and co. We've got Alex, who's just brought a sea of Necrons, because you're like, we could go for a balanced Necron list. Why let's not just like lean into it big time? So let's hope the opposition don't have ability to kill 60 Necron warriors. And then we have also got secret source on the team, Johnny from Mind Goblins.
Yeah, this is very exciting.
We had a dropout, so we had a route around to find someone, and Johnny was very kind.
Scraped the barrel.
We scraped the barrel of Mind Goblins. Oh, disgusting times. But needs must, right? Johnny's Johnny's regularly successful at Saffron Slam events. He's a very, very good AdMech player. I believe maybe currently number 1 in the world.
He is best in the world.
Quite possible, yeah. Well, he should be.
Out of all 6 of them, which is...
It's 12, mate. Come on.
I forgot that you dabbled.
I dabbled at one time.
He's the only player with 18 of a certain model, right?
Features, yeah. So I think not many. I mean, I've never played into AdMech. I think a lot of people haven't played.
This is quite an ace in the hole to have, I think, in a teams event, because I don't think anyone's played into them.
He also, because he only plays AdMech, he knows a lot of the matchups because he's just had the chance to play them across the board. So he's certainly one where I think a lot of people might have put, like if they've done a matrix, might have put it as kind of like a 3 or 4, and he's going to be able to flip. Because he certainly knows what his weak ones are, so we can keep away from them.
We certainly have not put Johnny as 3s and 4.
So I think
I can hear the War Masters now scrabbling.
So yeah, I think he's going to be an interesting one if you compare him into the kind of the style of matchups that he wants. So that'd be cool. Got Lee, so we kind of had a discussion on Lee and what to take because he's obviously recently started playing Custodes. But then, I mean, I played into Ed's Chaos Knights and it was like, oh, actually, Chaos Knights are pretty damn good. You talk about Josh Roberts. He did really well with them at LGT. And he's got a really confident win rate into a lot of the top factions with them. So a couple of bad matchups, but generally they cover the board really well. And they deal with a lot of the armies that Custodes also dealt with, on top of other things. So, Lee hasn't got a huge amount of experience with them, but how hard can it be, right? Ed manages it. You just shove the knights forwards and see what happens. And they're obviously very good at the primary denial game, which is really good in teams and creating that differential. And then
kill a lot of elves as well.
They do kill a lot of elves. They do. I'm not going to make any comment. And then we've got, and then I'm on Elder. Obviously, that's the faction I've been playing since the start of 10th. And they're in a really good spot. You'd want them on your team. I've kind of changed my list a bit from the singles one I ran at LGT. I just went for a more generic good one with slightly less characters. It plays tactical well, it plays fixed really well. I think in teams, being able to play fixed is really helpful. So I might well be trying to dabble with that. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's the standard Incarn and Wraithguard and lots of chaff to go score the points and hopefully can generate some decent wins.
Excellent. I think it'll be a force to be reckoned with this weekend.
It's a strong lineup. Very strong lineup.
Chris, do you actually, thinking about, do you have a name for the unholy alliance of Mind Goblins and 6++? The Mind Plus.
I mean, we haven't got one.
Yeah,
currently.
I think it is Mind plus because it's not the only 6++ Mind Goblins collaborations that are likely to happen this year. So exactly. There are going to be others.
Could it be Dice Goblin?
Dice Goblin is quite fun. Yeah, Goblin plus.
Just any version of plus.
Clothing size. Yeah.
Plus Mind Plus.
Yeah.
So many options. But no, it'll be good.
Anyway, next team. I'll finish on 6++ Omegon, so we'll do the others first.
Nice.
So I think already winning the name, the prize for the best UKTC name, the Grimdark Garage, is up next. Now, it's a fun name that masks, I think, a scary prospect. Every one of the players that are in this team have had cracking performances at previous Saffron Slams, and should not be underestimated. It's headed up by the Boyle brothers, so Michael and David Boyle. They'll take centre stage, I'm sure. Michael's bringing his Chaos Space Marines. David's got his Space Wolves. Then you've got Alex, who joins Tom as the event's other Votan main.
Yes, it's lonely out there for a Votan main.
It is.
Have a friend.
Is it, Tom?
It was.
It was, yeah.
It was.
Then they got good and everyone jumps on the bandwagon.
Shouldn't have been so damn persuasive. Oh, I do like his list. Triple Berserks, what an absolute boss. That is great.
Yeah. It's going to be messy. Byron's brought his Tyranids, and Adam has brought his Drukhari.
Drukhari, nice.
Good to see Drukhari in obviously Patrick
nice,
for 40k.
Nice to see them out.
got his. Actually, Patrick's Drukari won Best Painted at the last event, the EA Slam, because they are incredible. He's been working on them over and over and over again. So yeah, good to see some good-looking Drukari. One day they'll be good again.
And Byron, he's on Invasion Fleet. He's keeping it. Oh, this was pre. No, the nid book was out for this, right?
But yeah, the nid book's out for this one. It's a Space Marine book that's not quite ready.
Ah, yes, because there is indeed a Norn emissary kicking about. That's very cool.
Excellent.
Like it.
So yeah, that's the Grimdark Garage. Next up, the Saffron Slammers. Heroes, one and all. These are the guys, this is our new kind of Saffron Walden team that we've decided to call the Saffron Slammers. So occasionally I'm going to turn traitor from 6++ and play for these guys. But
I knew I never liked you.
We have always looked extremely negatively on any kind of attempt to do anything with one's time. And we will continue to do so.
Well, I shall beg for all of your
forgiveness. We are petty and jealous because we've heard that is how teams thrive.
Steady, Tom. So these guys, these guys are going to be helping me set up and tear down the event. And actually, credit to you, I could not run this event without them. I've seen at least Finn is on the chat, so just a massive thanks to them whilst I'm here speaking to all 10 people. Most of these guys are attending their first ever event of 10th edition. One of the team is attending his first ever 40k event, and what a way to start your 40k career with a team's tournament in Saffron Walden.
An experience. Yeah.
And those that have been to events before are still trying to work out what a D6 is. So this team is here to win, and win convincingly. Matt, Soldier Boy himself, heads up the team. He's got his quite nasty guard list. Lots of stuff in transports, which just pushes out on the board and gets in your way. Finn on the chat brought his Tau to convince you to join the greater good.
He's the only person in the chat with a Tetra, so well done for winning whatever that is.
Some kind of a special award there.
Ben
Ben is the only one. Basically, all the Eldari lists coming to the Saffron Slam are all the same, except for Ben. So he's going to show the rest of the world how Eldari should have actually won the LGT.
Hot take. I like his list way more than any of the current Eldar lists.
Interesting. Why do you like it so much?
Because it's got fucking guns. It just levels the board.
This has what we would call serious blowout potential, right? This can 20-0 things on the right board. It's terrifying. It's also more gettable and hurtable than some of the others because you can't hide the vehicles and play the clever, but this is a nightmare in pairings just because of what it can potentially do.
Yeah,
excellent. I'll let them know that. They'll know their strategy.
All well and good to say it's gettable, but you have to have models remaining, which you may not if you go second.
Exactly that. Also, Fire Dragons in Falcons. I mean, hero.
Oh, it's
absolute hero. That's what we all want to run, really, deep down somewhere.
That's how Eldar should be played, and that's how probably they will end up getting played once they finally get sorted out.
Yeah, this team looks good actually.
It should be right. I think Terrence is going to just try and drown you in Tyranid bodies. He's still painting. I think he's still got 70 gaunts left to paint. So,
classic Terrence.
Oh, double trigon. Love it, Terrence.
That is classic.
And also Vanguard Detachment, which our very own Davey has been having some success with.
Yes, I'm slightly disappointed he's gone down Davey's choice of how to run Tyranids.
RTT winner, Davey.
RTT. Oh, RTT yes, congratulations to RTT winner, Davey. And last but not least, Sam, with his Blood Angels, Chronicles of Riddick style, Chaplain Lamartis is just going to be punching people in the face with his Golden Cup. That's the plan.
Sick.
So that's the Saffron Slammers team. It's their first ever event, basically, as a group. So first ever kind of teams event. So I think they're going to have a really,
Finn
really good laugh with it.
His Tetras are not real Tetras. Finn, when are they ever? And Gilmar, I didn't see you in here. Jack also has a Tetra. Is that one real, Jack? Is it?
His are definitely not either.
Our penultimate team then, before we come back to finish off with the best 6++ team, is the War Masters. We've mentioned them several times. A Saffron event would not be complete without a group of players who actually know how to play this game, that the rest of us can take the piss out of for going to try and win these fun events.
Outrageous.
They're here in force. Names you'd have heard in proper competitive podcasts being talked about. Jamie Balcom, Trajan Valoris himself, heading the team up. Although he appears to have lost his Golden Boys because he's bringing the guard. Don't know where that's come from.
He's mixing it up with a list that would table his other list.
Brilliant.
We've mentioned him already, Jack Tight. He's here to crush literally everybody with his Chaos Space Marines.
He's still got to do it in a weird way, though. Got a Land Raider. Absolute hero. Love it.
Yes.
He has to have a little saffron magic added to his lists. He'll
It's
still
good.
terrify you.
The Land Raider is terrifying. It's a Nurgle Land Raider. We all know what that means. That is a real pain in the ass.
I'm not saying that he played me without a Land Raider and lost to my Land Raider, but that did happen. So
once again, we are thought leaders and visionaries. Oh man, that's an awesome list, though. Awesome list.
Oh, excellent. And then Gustav, Andrew, and Nick finish up the War Masters team.
Me and Gustav actually had a little sparring match for this because we played at the Cambridge Club. Gustav is a very tiny little player. I was very impressed.
Excellent. So you've got the lowdown on what he's going to do already.
Oh yes.
Can you stop him? Is the question.
Well, that I hadn't figured it out by the time I left. I'll put it that
way. When your army had been ground into dust with your own tears. So, last but not least, then our final team, the final 6++ team, 6++ Omegon, headed up by none other than OG Plusa, Jamie Clifford.
Oh yeah, love Jamie.
He brings along the Plusis fastest runner, Mr. Murdoch. Fresh, actually, from David's perspective, fresh of a cracking performance at the Great East Run in Peterborough last weekend. A brilliant time, personal best on the half marathon. Spot on to him.
2 psychic armies, Thousand Suns and Grey Knights. That's awesome.
Indeed. And Jamie East is trying to vie for Mike Cheng's spot as the top dog Death Guard player.
And I do owe him a beer because he went 3-2.
Indeed, you do.
You do owe him a beer.
So shout out to him for winning more games than he should have done.
So if we draw them, buy him that before the round.
Oh yeah, no. First thing that I'm doing on Saturday morning is like, so I owe you a pint. Should I settle you up now? And
a pint of vodka, right?
Yeah.
Just FYI, Ed, when you see all the prices for drinks and stuff at the weekend, it's double for you.
Well, it's going to feel like that anyway. I'm from the north, and I'm coming down to the south. And what? £8 for a beer? No,
that's slander. My beers are very reasonably priced.
Well,
I actually have a license and everything. I'm allowed to sell it, which is someone at the council hasn't got a clue who I am. And Kieran Kennett and Mark Milton finished that team off. So we've got Thousand Suns, Grey Knights, Necrons, Death Guard, and Guard.
Kieran's taking double Bane sword, blade, something like that.
Yeah, that is extremely cool.
Get that on the right board at Saffron Slam, and you're going to make a mess. Just saying.
Some would say this is the 6++ team of drinkers, but I did I haven't talked to any of them about this. I did a quick mental meld with them just to see how they were feeling about the event. And weirdly, they were thinking, it's not enough that I must win. I must see my enemies driven before me. I must hear the lamentations of their women. And, it's just really that sort of vibe. So they're coming to party.
Yeah, it's strong. It's a strong set of lists, I think. It's cool. They're going to have a very big swing.
Definitely. It's going to be a very good weekend. I'm very much looking forward to it. So now, the moment that we're all waiting for, the moment that all 5 people have tuned in to listen to.
30.
Pairings.
Thank you very much.
30? That's got to be a new record.
Substantially more than 5.
Don't worry, it's nothing to do with you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to this
it's very much appreciated.
Specific topic. We appreciate you hanging with us.
All those random people in South Korea that occasionally they'll be like, what?
We've got a couple of regular listeners who say where they're from at the start of the episode, and I'm a big fan of saying that. It's nice you just greetings from America, sound? Thank you. 3 times.
Awesome.
Your name.
Definitely. We love our international listeners. I've stopped sharing the screen now, Chris, so I don't know whether you need to do anything your end.
I will remove it from the scene. It is removed.
It is removed. Oh, God, you've all got bigger again. That's horrific. Put it back.
Oh.
Put it back. So, what I'm going to do for the next up, for our pairings, I'm going to start by pairing off the 3 6++ teams, which will leave us 2 pairings left at the end. So, I'm hoping there's people from each of the teams in the chat ready to go. If your team is not paired in those first 3 pairings, I'm going to give the chat the option to pick who's got left. Now, it's still all going to be random. I'm not just going to hit the BCP button and then do it. This is just going to be, I'm building some suspense. So do make yourselves known if you are the last 4 teams left. I repeat my call for favourable treatment for super chats. This is your last moment if you need to avoid.
Not legally binding. Results may vary.
I'm going to start with Alferis, and I'll ask Tom to choose a number between 1 and 7, and I'll announce who he's been paired into. And then we'll just work my way. I'll do Chris next, and then Ed, you're going to choose for the Omegon team. So behave.
War Masters.
I am going to follow the usual BCP rules. So no 6++ team is going to play another 6++ team in round 1, and neither of the 40k gaming guys are going to play each other in the first round. So hopefully we should avoid any inter-team conflict until at least round 2, when you can all start murdering each other at will. Does that all make sense on the call? Thumbs up. We're happy. Tom, choose for Alfarius a number between 1 and 7, and I will tell you.
Go for number 1. Go on. Really big balls.
It is tempting, isn't it? It's definitely tempting. 3.
Oh, it's 3. He's completely disregarded the 7. I assume that was a D6.
Yeah, don't give a fuck.
Fine, fair enough. You've avoided number 7, which means number 3 is the lovely gentleman at 40k Gaming. Now this is the teams. This is Sam and Harley. Harley got his wish.
Harley knew it. Harley read it in the runes. Fate dice that shit.
Eldar shenanigans. Be careful.
Oh, that'll be fun.
There we go. 40k. I'm writing this down because what I've realised is if I don't write it down, I'm not going to find out until I listen to the podcast back in a couple of days who's playing who. So,
after the weekend.
After the weekend, we'll just make it up as we go along.
Sorry to Team 7 for excluding you from the random chance. It's just the way it is.
I won't tell you who that is. Our dear leader, Chris. You can choose between 1 and 7. Don't pick 3.
Oh, okay. Oh, thanks for clarifying.
Just FYI. I didn't know if you were following along, whether you'd fallen asleep through ball.
Watching the football. No. Right.
How are England doing, by the way?
2-1 up. There is only one option here. Number 1.
Number 1. He's going for number 1. So number 1 is our relatively unknown team, ECL.
Ooh.
Andy and his mates. Should be interesting.
I think
they've
you
got a lot of
put
good
War
armies.
Masters at number 1 to catch him out for trying to be clever.
Yeah. Genuinely, I was like, I wonder if he has actually done that.
Yeah, I think you have not second guessed his playstyle here at all, Lewis, and I'm disappointed.
I have done it randomly, remaining in. I am completely impartial, but Omegon will be getting a favourable matchup. So, Ed, you're going to pick between numbers 1 and 7. You're not allowed to pick 1, and you're not allowed to pick 3.
Oh! I was going to pick 3.
Be nice.
Right, well, I guess we'll roll a die for this one as well. 5.
A 5. Here we go.
War Masters.
It's not War Masters. You wanted it to be War Masters. It is not War Masters. It is, in fact, our other 40k team. 40k Gaming under 21s.
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
That should be a cracking.
It's nice of 6++ to knock out all of the 40k teams.
Just all of the 40k players.
Then they can play each other round 2, all that good stuff. Yeah, the dream.
So,
amazing.
That, by my expert calculations, because I am an expert and I will hear nothing to the contrary, that should leave us with the War Masters team, the Saffron Slammers team, Grimdark Garage, and Sons of War left to decide. So
that's pretty spicy, isn't it? As a remaining 4.
No one there is the Saffron Slammers not looking so good.
I'm in danger.
Bit scared for a round 1 pairing into the War Masters. So have we got
light entry, a soft landing.
Next
Going
person,
dry.
Vietnam.
Next person on the chat who says their name and what team they're for gets to pick
Come on, Paul.
their round 1 pairing, and that will.
They're typing one letter at a time. Though. It's going to be quite slow.
Yeah.
What numbers are left?
I've reset the numbers, so it will be numbers 1 through 4. Jack Tight, he's in first.
There he is.
Me
there he is.
with lots of ease.
Well,
so Jack, you were number 1. So I would like you, Jack, to pick between
He's got
picked 7, the famous number between 1 and 4. He's gone with 7.
He's followed it up with 3.
The risk he took was calculated, but boy, was he bad at maths.
Amazing.
He's gone with 3. Can I have a drum roll, please?
This is tiring.
Stop the drum roll at any point. Ta-da! War Masters are playing the Grim Dark Garage, dun, 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 which means our final pairing, the heroic Saffron Slammers, are playing the Sons of War.
Oh, nice, a local derby.
A local derby. Our new team. Put down this old team in the dust. So, a little bit of a roundup.
Bridge has entered his name to do the last pick, even though
about
2
10
teams
minutes.
left, which I really appreciate.
Are you even concentrating?
maybe you have to pause the video for a bit, and he's just catching up with where we are.
Exactly. We might be buffering in Cambridge.
Famously, no internet in the south, right?
So, in summary, then, before we move on to show questions and talk about something that everyone actually wants to talk about, 6++ Alfarius, you are playing the 40k gaming team. 6++ Legion, you are playing ECL. 6++ Omegon, you are playing the 40k gaming under 21s. War Masters, you are playing the Grimdark Garage. And the Saffron Slammers, you are playing the Sons of War. And there we have it, team. Round 1 pairing for Saffron Slam Teams tournament. Those of you already furiously checking BCP, it's not fucking done yet because I'm on this call. I will do it as soon as I'm finished.
Nice.
And I'll hand back to Tom to do other things that are supposed to happen with this show.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Lewis. We're all really looking forward to it. Those are some exciting draws. I think, all to play for. It's going to be really exciting to see how those all go. And we will look forward to our Alfarius date with 40k Gaming in a few days' time. So that's obviously the end of the Saffron Slam Teams segment of the show. So all we're going to do is rattle through some questions, and then we're going to call it a day. So if you have any questions and you want to bung them in the chat, obviously you can throw in nonsense and sort of, I guess, teams-related banter in there if you want, if you're here for that. But otherwise, we'll work our way through some podcast questions in the Discord as well, and then we will go to bed. So let's find those.
While you're doing that, I just want to point out that the 6++ Omegan into the 40k gaming under 21s has both of the Death Guard players, and I hope that they have to play each other, and somehow they both score 0 points. This was not good. James is lovely. I haven't met Mike. I'm sure he's lovely as well. It's nothing personal, apart from your poor choice in armies. But it would just bring me joy to see both of them somehow.
I want Mike to crush you so badly.
If he does, I'll consider a career change.
Who's going to sell us the meat?
Change my Chaos Knight's ballistic skill to only 3 up.
Oh no, I meant my unpaid job of Warhammer.
Yeah. Nice. Right, okay. So, first podcast question of the evening is, which Loyalist Primarch would you have released alongside the 10th edition Space Marine Codex? This is from Hannibal.
Demon Russ.
Okay. Those are both choices. Any other choices?
Loyalist.
Yeah, it has to be.
I've got to remember who they are.
Mine would be Alfarius.
Nice.
Vulcan,
see what you did there.
Vulcan with lots of flamers for the Flamestorm detachment.
Yeah, I think I'd be down with that one. I'm just reminding me. It's been so long since I've played a fucking loyalist.
Who was a loyalist?
Yeah. Who are the Space Marines? What do we got here? World Eaters.
You could have some fun with the Ferrus Manus model as well. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Got to hand it to him, right?
Whilst Ed is picking between the remaining 3 options,
You two are so funny.
I'm enjoying the smack talk in the chat. Mike Cheng says he's coming for you, Ed.
Oh, beautiful!
It's already
come and say hi, Mike. When we get there on Saturday, I'd like to meet you.
When you first
I
meet
need
him,
to
Mike,
understand
think he's a dick.
What makes someone look at Death Guard and go, "Yes, this is good." I'm doing a social study. Hold on. While I'm making enemies in the chat, there was someone else I had my eye on. Where are you at, Mechanicus? You're on thin fucking ice, buddy. For Sherbet Lemon, I got my fucking eyes on you.
How much not to give Ed the painted bonus? Excellent. I don't need convincing Mechanicus.
Fight in sight, bro. Fight in sight.
All right, we'll draw another one out of the Discord, and then we'll move down to some of the ones that we've got popping up in the chat. Harley asks, which 6++ team will do best at the weekend? I'd back any of them in this environment.
Oh, what pussy. Legion.
In this environment.
Yes, boss.
They've got an Eldar player who couldn't even go undefeated at LGT.
Oh, no, I do lose to other Eldar. Worse Eldar. But,
he lost the mirror,
other Eldar.
so.
That really doesn't strengthen your case.
Yeah.
I lost to other Eldar. Worse Eldar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Legion's. I do think the admate thing is a really nice variable to have in teams. I think that's cool because that's just something no one else has. And Johnny is a very, very good player. So I mean,
if they get to play against Knights or Astra Militarum, that is a 20-0 on turn 1.
Yeah.
If you haven't run any numbers or seen it play out, it is disgusting. That
You shut the fuck up, Ed. There are still people listening here, dickhead.
Yeah, but you're not on my team, and I don't really.
We're still teammates, Ed.
We're all friends. Which takes me back to my original point that I think we can all do equally well, and if we just stuck with that, we wouldn't be here. And we wouldn't be in this match.
Now Legion's going to go 3-2. Megan's going to get drunk.
That high, yes,
1-4,
finally.
And we're going to smash it. Go 5-0, win the event. Fucking calling my shot now.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? That'd be lovely. For
no fence sitting here. And I'm going to bait every Death Guard player at this event somehow, while also going undefeated, despite the fact that both of them are playing round 1. Don't think about it too hard.
This is carnage.
Yeah, it's going to
carnivores.
You've introduced a
fucking
competitive.
6 of them.
There's a competitive adrenaline flowing through this. It's pretty wild. So, question we have in the chat, the standard chat is from Hickdead. If the Gods of Chaos made a breakfast cereal, what would the flavour profile be?
Cornflakes.
Yeah, I feel like you're either going niche because I don't know what does Chaos Undivided. What's that as a cereal? What do you go with there?
I'm going to reveal something about myself here. That might be how I have my cereal, which I start, and I do this most mornings, I start with a Weetabix base. We then add something like cornflakes, something on top of that, and then we finish it with Special K. That's Chaos Undivided, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, in as much as it's involving a mix of different things and it's awful.
Yeah. You managed to take 3 bland things and make them even worse.
I mean, like, if you are going to mix cereals, is that the extent and scope of your imagination? Is that where
the best texture? I can guarantee you, there's the best texture of mixed cereal is you want Weetabix and Rice Krispies, because the Rice Krispies stay firm, but you still get the mushiness of the Weetabix, which is what you want from Weetabix. So.
Rice Krispies, you heard it here first. Famously stay firm in milk, despite that not being the experience anyone ever with a mouth taste
They become
has ever experienced.
The Weetabix absorbs all the milk, so the Rice Krispies stay firm.
Oh,
that's top tip for anyone that likes cereal.
Shout out to Stu who has the money on it. That's cereal degeneracy is Slanesh if I ever heard it.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Stu. That is,
absolutely.
It is degenerate.
Our only other question in there at the moment is from Harley, who says, Tom, dwarf rematch. I would enjoy the opportunity to revisit that matchup in the light of recent
That's a drawing match, Harley. Fuck you, Ed. It's a drawing matchup.
No, Chris. We'll see.
Who's got more Sagittals?
I do have more Sagittars.
Then you win it. There you go. That's how it works, right?
So yeah, no, I'd definitely be up for that rematch, Charlie. But we'll have to see whether that's what you want. We'll get to that later, though. Right, let's go back to the podcast questions we have got.
I see today, Chris, you have finally put a separate thing on the channel on the Discord for people to chat about the bloody questions.
I'm not confused, Ed.
Yes, I think that was a sensible play. They asked for that. The chat.
I asked for it 6 months ago.
Well, but we don't care what you think. And then Sai says, what will Orcs get as the new miniature for their Codex reveal? And when it's 3 squigs in a trench coat, will it have lone op? What do you think?
Yes and yes.
They've had quite a lot. They don't feel like they'll get much, right? They feel like they'll probably get like one thing, probably.
Don't they have is it like Mad Dot Grotznick or something like that? It's like a really old character.
They've got a few old characters.
Some really old metal ones and resin ones that probably need an update.
Got 5 named characters that are all resin. What they've done for the last 3 splash releases for them though is do changes of units. So like a good example, the buggies, instead of it just being war buggies, they went, here's a splash release of different ones, and they're themed around an archetype of a clan without it being a clan specific thing. So they did that. Then they did the bee snaggers, which are snakebite but not.
Yeah.
So I think we might see something flash gits related.
That'd be cool.
So like some sort of heavy guns.
I
thought about this earlier.
With flash kits being good at the moment for some reason, and if you're like, maybe there's new models coming in, they're just getting
something different, like doing something more so that freebooters are just not flash kits alone, and play the pirate theme. That could be cool, right?
Oh, that would be fun.
I was going to say a grot on stilts, so I'm glad you had a good answer.
With a sniper rifle.
Yeah. Not even a sniper pistol. Load up, but also only has a 12-inch range.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Oh, don't again.
We've seen it before.
Not again. Okay. Then we've got, this one's quite a big question that requires some thought. So
why have they pitched it to us then?
Yeah,
well, we think sometimes. Ultimate Funk asks, how important is finding an army that fits your play style to enjoying the game? Are we at a point where you can play pretty much every army? Pretty much every play style with every army, with a few exceptions, but true to a point, I think, given most factions have a decent variety of units, Cop, Votan, Cop, single my boys out, why don't you? To varying degrees of success. Second to this, would you rather be winning more with an army you didn't really vibe with, or losing a few but playing something that really felt like the way you want to play 40k? So 2-parter really. And there was quite a lot of excitement in the chat about how we would respond to this, so I suggest we all have a stab at it.
I have a very strong opinion.
Start with your very strong opinion then, Lewis.
It won't come.
Weetabix base.
Yes.
And then you build from there.
We start with your Weetabix, then you add your Eldari on top, then they will go all soft because they're elves.
I feel sick.
No, Hick Dead does say in the chat, if I ever meet Snap, Crackle or Pop, I shall ask them if they stay firm in milk, which I'd appreciate the feedback.
That's sexual harassment. Don't do that.
But no, in regards to Ultimate Funk's question, I am very strongly of the opinion that this is a hobby. We're all supposed to be having a good time here. We should be playing what we like to play, not what is good. So hopefully I try and espouse that in what I do when I play, when I go to events and when I play with my models. I play what I want in a style that I want to play, regardless of whether it's the most effective way of doing it or not, and try and make the best of a faction that I enjoy or a playstyle that I enjoy, even when it might not be the best that's out there. And actually, I think it's possible to do that in kind of response to the second point in the question. I think it is possible to win a decent number of games with suboptimal list or suboptimal playstyle if you focus on the fundamentals of the game and how to score those points and how you can exploit certain matchups to your advantage.
Yeah, and that is your preference, to clarify, Lewis. You would rather be doing that than running what is currently hot.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. How about the rest of you?
Go on, be opinionated.
I'll take it. Yeah, I don't think it's I think it's like two axes that you plot where you want to be on it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I have played armies that I didn't enjoy and done well with them. I took around this time last year, I played 4 events over the course of about 12 days. It was like 14 days, something daft, with the Warrior Leviathan Nid army, because I had built a list that I really enjoyed, realized the concept was flawed, and was like, I have 2 weeks to get something together. Oh, hey, I have Tyranids, let's do that. And that was pretty fucking miserable. And like, if we talk about the team events, so like not talking about individual scores, I went maths, 15 out of 16. And you know what? I'd have much rather not done that. It was such a fucking slog. It was such a miserable list to play. It was so good, but it just wasn't. It wasn't worth it. I would throw another angle into it. I like to play something that takes people by surprise. Not necessarily that I want them to not understand how the list works. I'll explain that to people. But I want people to look at it and go, oh, shit, that's not the same army that people are running. So, I'll throw a bit of spice in a Great and Clean one or something like that. It has to be something that I think is genuinely good, and I'll go like on a rabbit hole of I'll dig through and I'll find something that I think is genuinely good and people have missed the utility of. But I will try and put a little bit of spice into all my lists if I can.
Is that starting with a faction or a playstyle?
Playstyle for me. So I tend to discount anything that's actively bad because I'm looking at the game competitively, so I don't want to go like I could play Death Guard and probably do okay with them, but what's the point? Why not take something that's like middle of the road at worst and then do well with them, or take something that's good, play it in a different way. Like when NIDS came out, I was playing full Monster Mash while everyone was playing Leviathan Warriors. I had great results with that, and I had a great time playing it. And I also got to feel like a special snowflake despite playing one of the most broken codexes of Ninth. So, yeah, it's like, but guys, I'm not playing Leviathan Warriors. It's fine. And then later played Leviathan Warriors. Yeah, it was funny at the time. I was very firmly like, no, this is legitimately way better than Leviathan Warriors. And then 3 months later, I was like, okay, Leviathan Warriors is better. But also they had changed the secondary, so I couldn't play my previous list.
Yeah.
I did have a little bit kind of similar, I guess, on your point about doing something slightly surprising with the double Valiant list that I ran in 9th edition, in that people kind of knew what a Valiant was, knew what it did, but as soon as you put Advance and Shoot on it, it was like, oh, okay, that is not what I expected. And suddenly it all goes wrong. And actually I really enjoyed it because I love the models, I thought they're brilliant, and just the idea of running around Massive Flamers excited me. But it was a way of turning a certain play style in a way, as you say, that people don't expect, or surprises people, or puts people on the back foot in a way that you can kind of get round some of the disadvantage of having something that's not top tier. If you can play it in a way that people aren't expecting.
I really enjoy seeing those lists as well, and as loath as it is for me to say something nice about you, the first
Steady.
time,
I'm sitting down, so I'm ready for this.
The first time I was aware of you was Newcastle GT last year, and we saw your list, and I genuinely wanted to pair into you because I was like, holy shit, this guy's running double Valiant. What a cool list. I'm glad that I didn't. They say never meet your heroes because it ruins it.
That was going so well.
Yeah, I realised I had to reel it back, otherwise you might think I like you.
Chris and John, you got anything to add to the play style and vibe conversation? Off you go, John.
So I think it's quite interesting that everyone's kind of latched onto a play style can be an army as well. So to me, a good example of that is when Tom first got into the hobby, he went for Death Guard because they were one of the starter armies. He loved how they looked. And then as the game progressed, it became quite clear that they weren't the play style that you kind of synergized to.
No, although so I think people who know, I love rolling field note pages. Yeah. I do love that, and I shouldn't be allowed them, especially not 5 at once. Because
Death Guard might be good if they had to feel no pains. Sorry,
yeah, they would be very good. Yeah.
So it feels kind of important to be aware of that sometimes, even if there is a play style that is good, and it doesn't necessarily synergize with you how you want to play as well, that actually it can be quite harmful to how you enjoy it as well. So I think that's quite important because although I can imagine. In 9th edition, you probably could have done all right at times with your Death Guard, but you probably would have done better with an army that you had a feel for, right? And it's where the kind of the so, and then I looked at sort of at the beginning of 10th, I was experimenting like everyone was, trying to do something a bit more less in the obvious way. So I did try the combat thing with like the Lion and Blade Guard, and I went to an RTT, set my expectations like I want to win more than I lose with this, knowing it's probably not going to always have the best matchups. But I think framing it that I had an expectation of where I should be going with it meant that I wasn't then frustrated by it in comparison to, say, 3 years ago where I'd go, right, I'm going to play this list because this is what I want to take, and then go to a GT and go, I've just got stomped because I had no clue what my army actually was going to be going into stuff. So I think as long as you get the expectation of what that kind of style is going to be and how it's going to handle the current meta, you should be okay. And as long as you enjoy that expectation, right? Like, because going to an event and going, I might get 2-1, I might get 1-2, but if I do kind of edge over that, great. It's as long as your expectation's there, I think it's fine, right?
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally my theory is that I don't want to keep expanding my selection of armies, so I have like 4 or 5, which is enough, and then I pick the one that I think is going to be the one that will do well in events, but I will enjoy myself. So I've been playing Eldar in some form for like nearly 2 years, and I've kind of expanded my collection on that. Yeah, I did experience so because I just started collecting AdMech, then their book came out, and they were obviously broken in ninth, and that was an interesting one because
Convenient.
just read the meta, mate.
What did you decide to start playing in 10th? What was that one?
Well, I carried on playing the elves I've been playing for a year beforehand.
Carried on playing.
Yeah,
that was
he had at least 15 Eldar models before that.
Definitely not trying to rewrite history to make everyone forget that I also was on the Eldar train.
Yeah. You're a bad man.
But it's all right, Chris, because you didn't go to a fun event with your.
It's worth saying actually, this question wasn't actually coming at us over strength of armies. It was much more interested in playstyle, and it was obviously there is a success element to the question, but I think it's mostly about playing things you enjoy that are good versus suffering through things you don't enjoy that are a bit better, rather than
That's why I'm not playing orcs at the moment. I don't want to play bodies.
No, you carry on, Chris. We've jumped all over you.
What I was going to say is when I was playing the AdMech was that I didn't particularly enjoy the style. It's a bit like you pick your target, you obliterate it, and that's not where I get my enjoyment from. When I started playing the Harlequins, although some people played them in move this block of gunboats, annihilate something, move it over there, annihilate something. I was very much kind of like, I like the more janky style of stuff. And yeah, that's the style I like. Even when I used to play my Custodes, I quite like the idea of I was gradually getting table, but I was trying to hold on for the win and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think definitely for me it is that play style, but what faction can enable me to compete the best with that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bit of a distinction as well to be made in the sorts of environments you're playing in, right? Like I really enjoy knocking around with stupid things when I'm playing more casually. I really enjoy things like Crusade. I like taking stupid things. My Night Lords famously never won a Crusade game because a Night Lords Crusade was not very good, but I still really enjoyed running it around and watching my Chaos Lord manage to always lose his duels and get killed every single time. To quite a remarkable effect. So, but I think at events it gets a bit more complicated, and the longer you play it, the more complicated it gets. There's different styles that appeal at different times. I think we all change in and out of styles. I've been playing a lot of fast, hard-hitting glass cannon armies for a long time. I'm not really running that at the moment, and that's been quite nice to change it up. I haven't played that sort of army much in a while in recent times, just because it's nice to test doing things in a different way and see what you're capable of when you're playing things in a slightly different way as well. I think for me, the one I remember when I was deeply fed up at the army by the end was GSC, where it's like GSC were one of those armies. I started collecting GSC because I love things like Aberrant and Gene Stealers and Melee and weird little characters, and the way that eventually it turned out GSC were played in order to sort of hang at top level was very joyless, like sluggy, stat checky, hoardy type list. I didn't enjoy that much, but I did enjoy that it gave me access to one thing I always like to have, which is I don't really enjoy playing the best armies, but I like to be able to beat them. So having an army that's capable of that for a competitive event, that appeals to me, and I do, whether I like it or not. So a part of me would be frustrated going into any event knowing I have literally no answer to multiple top armies. Right, I don't enjoy that. I can make peace with it for a more casual event, and I've done that plenty. I've taken worse things to more casual events and really enjoyed it, but I've already decided going in, you're losing a game in this event, exactly. Or you're losing 2 events, and you make your peace with that. And you get to take the Tantalus out for the day, and it's lovely, and that can be really nice.
You did.
So it's very context specific. I think I don't know, like what your actual play style is takes a long time to figure out. So I always think it's worth trying different things and figuring that out. And also the way armies play changes so radically between editions. Take Drukhari as a case in point. Fuck all of the skills I've developed playing Drukhari are relevant right now because it's gone right back to a very different focus in how the army plays at the moment. It doesn't do the same set of things. So actually sometimes being consistent with your playstyle means looking in other directions and finding other things. And so if you want to play 9th edition Drukhari, go and play Chaos Space Marines would be my advice. That's where you can get that sugary high right now. So it was an interesting question, I thought. Very, very thought-provoking.
There's been some smack talk in the chat.
What's happened? What have they done now?
So Ed Mechanicus asks, how much would he have to super chat, I assume, because he's going to give that money to us immediately, for you to become a Death Guard main? And the crucial smack talk is it might actually up your stats.
He wants to be careful. He's going to be, go to bed one night and I'll be there in the YouTube comments.
Very, very good.
And Sam has an excellent suggestion for a new orc model that should be released, and that's a squig on stilts.
Yeah.
Which I quite like. That was quite funny. Ooh. And also, he's calling you out, Tom. He says, and this is written in orc. I don't speak orc, so I'm just going to speak it in English. Warg, squigs gonna chomp and crump dem 6++ gits with a Z.
I can believe it. He's
confident.
40k strong team. It'll be a good game. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to that. And I think we only have one question left, which is from Sindri. Instead of an amazing range refresh or update, your favourite upcoming codex is only going to get one kit. If it could be anything, what would you hope it to be? And then the hard mode version of the question is that it has to have stilts.
No. The hard mode of the question is, what the fuck's my favourite upcoming codex?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right? No. What do I like?
Let's assume you can pick any army, and imagine they've got a book coming. What would if you're getting one unit? What would you want?
I don't even know which armies I like.
New Fugan for Eldar.
Yeah, New Fugan would be cool.
Just all new aspect. I know the new Striking Scorpions look really, really cool, but just all of the aspect warriors that are left.
That's not really in the spirit of this question.
No, sorry, I was riffing off Chris there.
I'd love them to release a new kind of aspect warrior that is on stilts. That would be like the least Eldar thing in the entire world. How about you, John?
I think for me it would be a new Big Mech, but a combat Big Mech
on stilts.
So there maybe even.
It's called the Big Mech and Mega Armor.
No, I think he's thinking bigger than that.
But that Big Mech is the size of a tactical marine, and he really poses like this. He's just like, hello, I'm happy to see you. So having something kind of a bit epic, maybe having like a grot gunner on him, maybe some sort of extra
You're thinking
arms.
about it from a model perspective.
Yeah, it's just something cool, and maybe having so that the legs do extend, so you can maybe go do a super boost thing where he goes an extra 6 inches when he advances, where his legs stretch. He goes like go gadget legs or whatever. That'd be fun, right?
Nice.
Votan, I'd like something that's like it's got to sit exactly size-wise in between an Invicta warsuit and a Paragon warsuit. And like angry dwarf punchy little mech thing with like big axe and shit. I think that'd be fun.
I can picture it with like runic plated armor.
Yeah. I'd be all over that. That would be awesome.
The Necromunda range has something perfect for that.
Yeah, they are teasing a lot of stuff right now. It gives me hope. But if Votan get only one unit in the next release, I'm gonna fucking throw them all in the bin.
No! Tell me which bin. Tell me which bin.
Oh, if I only get one model. Oh no!
No, but it needs that second splash. I think it definitely does to have a bit more all-round flavour. I think.
Definitely not rumoured to be getting a big second wave.
Yeah, it's not like there's jump packs or something coming, right? Like jump packs would just out of the blue, right?
You feel like it has to.
Don't worry about it. I think I've got it. I think it's the thing that would make me want to play Tau in 10th edition. Some sort of combat Tau warsuit.
Combat Tau.
Yeah. Crisis suits,
I was going to go down Tau Road as well.
Like
but
a
different to you. But
a far sight honor guard with blades would be sick.
Yeah. Stealth suits with blades.
One gun, one melee weapon. Go fast. Yeah.
Chippy choppy. Yeah,
I'd quite like to see the Tau, a redesign of the Devilfish Hammerhead Skyray chassis. Make it a bit kind of, because some of the new Tau models look really dynamic, some of the new battle suits, things like that, really, really dynamic, but the tanks still look quite boxy. But I think in reality, they probably would be a bit sleeker and a bit more dynamic looking, slightly less chunky. So I'd quite like to see a little bit of redesign of some of the vehicles to kind of bring them up to date.
They could model it with like almost modular bits that move, and instead of having like a solid chassis, have it so that it's moving as you turn and
flowing. That'd be really cool.
Give me a job, Games Workshop. I'll sit in a room and just tell you, like, I'll throw words.
And I would
conceptual design.
I'd enjoy watching them trying to give the Hammerhead a profile or gun to make it more scary than it's already been in recent times. I don't know what that would be good. Awesome. I think that's us done. Thank you very much for listening in. We're all very excited for Saffron Slam Teams. We will see you there. Come and say hello. Come and trash talk us. We relish it. We welcome it. And we're looking forward to having a thoroughly bang average time playing against all of you on the weekend. See you then. Bye-bye.